Vanavond hebben we weer een speciale gast uit Duitsland, Heiko Schöning, voor velen al bekend door zijn werk voor het verzet. Welcome, Heiko.
Welcome, Willem. Good to see you again.
Likewise. So before we get into all the things you already have organized for the resistance, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your professional career up until the corona pandemic?
Yes, so I'm a medical doctor from Germany. I was trained in Berlin at the Charité, as well in Australia and in England, in the Royal Infirmary, in Leicester and the Royal North Shore Hospital in Sydney, Australia. And I came into this resistance because I investigated a very unusual suicide. So these were my first steps into the things.
Please elaborate, because now you made me curious. What kind of suicide did you investigate?
Well, it was one of the most important suicides in modern history. A man who should be as famous as Osama bin Laden, he was announced that he killed himself with paracetamol. Paracetamol is a painkiller, yeah, over-the-counter medicine, I think most of the people know. Well, and my background is that I worked in accident and emergency on 3 continents, and I treated patients who tried to overdose themselves with paracetamol in order to kill themselves, so suicide attempt. But I know it's very rare that this really got through and happened. So, and what is the story? And as we know, so the attacks of 9/11 from September 2001, they changed the world, especially in the Western world. So, and it has 5 things, 4 planes, and the 5th thing is the anthrax attacks. So with a deadly bioagent, a bacteria called Bacteria anthracis, anthrax, yeah. And this was sent out by ladders, normal post ladders, and it killed 5 people. It was sent to high-level journalists and high-level parliamentaries. And it happened that the parliament was closed in October 2001, and it created a panic, yeah, like today, corona. It created a panic, anthrax. And it helped to push the Patriot Act, yeah, these anthrax attacks. And the United States and President Bush said, oh, it must be the Iraq. It was so sophisticated, yeah, this deadly bioagent, and we need to attack the Iraq now in 2001, yeah. And it came out that this anthrax material was not a foreign material, it was a domestic material from the United States itself. So, oh, oops. So they didn't attack the Iraq. It took them 2 years more to do this in 2003. Well, but who made the anthrax attacks? And so the FBI said 7 years later in 2008, they announced to the press, okay, we investigated 7 years and now we have the perpetrator. It's a lonely perpetrator. He did it just by himself, yeah? And his name is Dr. Bruce Ivans. And the press said, oh, can we talk to him? No, you can't, because he committed suicide with paracetamol last week. Oops.
That is a very suspicious story. It makes me think of the Unabomber. Every time, or even the assassination of Kennedy, it's always the lone wolves in the story of the FBI.
Exactly. So this happened, yeah, again. So it was a panic with like corona, like anthrax in 2001, yeah. And the perpetrator was then very officially Dr. Bruce Ivans. He was a direct co-worker of the company Emergent Biosolutions. And this is the company who got the monopoly for the vaccination against anthrax. Wow. He was working from 2000 to 2002 directly at this company, Emergent Biosolutions. And this company made a fortune of money, of course, because more than 1 million people were forced to vaccinate themselves after the anthrax attacks. Yeah. And well, he was a co-worker of this. Well, and I was a little bit curious because of these paracetamol. And
so this was already back in 2008. You saw the whole case, and it made an alarm go off.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw this case. It was a little bit later than 2008, and I looked into the details. But then I thought, well, so Dr. Bruce Ivans was a microbiologist, and Willem, you're a biologist too, yeah? So you know.
Pharmacist, but close enough. Yep.
Yes, and you wouldn't try to kill yourself with paracetamol.
No.
It's just like a racing champion like Formula One, Sebastian Vettel, would try to hit a tree in order to kill himself and use a bike, not a fast car, yeah, using a bike. So this is like a pharmacist or a biologist would try to kill himself with paracetamol. So this was why I investigated the case, because on 3 continents I treated patients with this. Yeah, long story short, I investigated then in undercover, because it's very, very serious, for years, took all the evidence together. And then I had the evidence to say he was not the lonely perpetrator, and he was not committing suicide with paracetamol. And I have the scientific evidence, the medical evidence, and all the circumstances all around this case. And I put this into the book. And now it's out, game over. So this is a good message.
Yeah. So that takes me to the first slide. This is the book. You compiled all the evidence and you link what happened in 2001 with the anthrax attack to COVID-19. And one might say is that even SARS-1, the Mexican flu or the swine flu, MERS, they're all connected in this fear-mongering campaign.
Yes, that's right, Willem. But the most important thing is that where's the connection? Because they are 18 years between. The connection is the perpetrator, the official perpetrator, Dr. Bruce Ivans, was a direct co-worker of Emergent Biosolutions. They had the monopoly for the vaccination against anthrax. And guess what? They have the near monopoly to produce coronavirus vaccine today. So we all know the brand names like AstraZeneca, like Johnson & Johnson, like Janssen's, like Novavax and others. But in fact, there's one producer producing for all these names the vaccination against COVID-19. And again, it's the company Emergent Biosolutions. So the very company Dr. Bruce Ivans was working at the very date he was alleged to commit the anthrax attacks.
And wow. Did they ever explain what his motivation behind the anthrax attacks was?
Well, they said he was mad. Yeah, he was nuts. But in fact, he was working 30 years for the US Army and dealing with deadly bioagents. even the 7 years after this, even when they investigated him for years, they never took him out of dealing with deadly bioagents. So it is a complete lie, the whole investigation. And this is what I can prove. So I can prove that the cover-up of the anthrax attacks, is connected to the very same persons who are now involved with the COVID-19 panic. So I can say this is organized crime. COVID-19 is a planned crime. It's a pre-planned organized crime. And it's done partly by the same perpetrators of the anthrax attacks. And in this book, and I kid you not, are the scientific evidence where you can go to court. So this is a very new and very serious, important message I have.
Well, thanks for doing all that work and for really going through a lot of resistance, because what we met as an organization, and you met as well, is that a lot of people start doubting whether you are a real person, a real doctor. Why do you do it? You do it for fame and money, etc., etc. And that really takes a lot of courage. Now, what is very interesting is that you already more or less warned the world in 2019 in an interview at Ken FM.
Yeah, that's correct. So it's that's a fact. I warned months before coronavirus outbreak that exactly this thing will happen in 2020. I warned in this interview at the end that the same perpetrators who are in the cover-up of the anthrax attacks are now planning for 2020 a big panic, like anthrax, and even bigger for 2020. So, and I can prove this. So in the book here, there are 2 DVDs inside. And the interview, about 2 hours long, is on this DVD. So inside the book, you have around 450 pages, and you have included 2 DVDs. And there are all the evidence and the medical evidence as well. So you see there on the table, I had already there the draft of the book I wanted to print. But this was, of course, Anthrax 01 from 2001, mostly inside. So, and then COVID-19 happened. So I thought, well, this is a very big one. And I said to myself, okay, I will not publish this book now with anthrax. I will combine COVID-19 and anthrax together, because I can prove that the same perpetrators are acting in the same thing. So COVID-19 is a fresh crime. It's not so easy to nail down the evidence, but in anthrax, I did all the work. And most important, again, the company Emergent Biosolutions is producing now the COVID-19 vaccine for AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, and others. And they are criminals. The bosses are belonging to a worldwide mafia.
Exactly, and this is also why you made a board game and a card game. We will get to that later on. I think it's very intuitive. But one more question about this: how did people react to this interview at that moment?
interview came out, and so the platform KenFM, yeah, they decided to broadcast this at September 11. So for the anniversary of 9/11, because anthrax is an integrated part of this. And in fact, this interview, what you see there, was recorded in December .
Because this came out in 2019 on the 11th of September.
Well, the reaction was quite shocking for most of the people, because I solved 9/11, the attacks of 2001, because again, so the anthrax attacks was an integrated part of 9/11. Yeah. So the whole story is not true, the official story, when the anthrax attacks are not true. So this was kind of shocking, yeah, for a lot of people. And so more than most of this interview, I talked, of course, about this. And then in the end of the interview, I said, I warn all my fellow citizens that in 2020, there is an organized crime planned with a deadly bioagent panic, like anthrax, 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 corona, corona, corona. I couldn't say what they will use, but I said that they are going to plan something like a pandemic, and a big wave is rolling on us. Yeah, and this is scheduled for 2020, and I said this months before.
How did you
know the company Emergent Biosolutions will be involved again? Because I laid down on this table, you see the draft of the book, yeah? I laid down the evidence that Emergent Biosolutions planned to double their income within 2 years. And well, they did already now, we know.
Yes, and we saw more companies do this, also Tipmobile and some others, which seem to be involved in this scandal. Then we go to another favorite of our show, Martin Hadic. You are together here. Tell us what's this about?
Yes, so as you said before, so in September 2019, yes, I predicted that 2020 a great bioagent panic will happen. Yeah, and it happened then with COVID-19, with the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Yeah, and we all know how it developed now. And in spring 2020, I created in Germany the Doctors for the Truth, Ärzte für Aufklärung. So this was, we got more than 1,000 medical doctors on our website with their names and street and so, and to back us up. Plus, in May 2020, I established the Corona-Ausschuss, the Extra Parliamentary Inquiry Committee on COVID-19, in German, Außerparlamentarischer Corona-Untersuchungsausschuss. So just short, ACU2020.org. So because the parliaments didn't investigate the COVID-19 and even the secret services, yeah, and the police didn't really investigate this, we the citizens had the duty to perform this, and I performed this Corona-Ausschuss with, in the beginning with medical doctors, and one of them were Professor Dr. Martin Hadic from Austria. And we performed more than 20 hearings with experts and witnesses. This on YouTube, but most of them are deleted. But the good thing is, in the book, There are, as I told you, there are 2 DVDs inside, yeah, and you can have this on a hard copy, yeah. Without internet, you can see even the medical evidence, how they committed the crime with COVID-19.
Very good. So in Holland, we also have such a committee now functioning quite well, broadening the scope also to politicians, journalists, police agents. In our parliament, they have said, well, we will do, of course, later on, after the pandemic, we will do a parliamentary inquiry. Have these talks also started in Germany?
Well, not really. So there is no proper inquiry committee from the parliament. And we had a lot of chances. So 6 political parties had the chance to establish a proper inquiry committee. Yeah, in the countries, you know, Germany is a federal republic, plus most important in the Bundestag, in the main parliament. But they failed to do this. So we collected the evidence, yeah, and now lawyers are going ahead, still collecting evidence, but we have all the evidence already. We know that they are criminals. So there is no big point to get in all the details, like spike proteins and so on and so on. It's like, you know, it's mafia in front of you with a pistol pointing on you, and there is no time to discuss what kind of car they're driving and what the color of the car has got. And if the tires of the cars of the criminals has got spikes, yeah, or has got no spikes, yeah. So
I understand what you mean. This is also
crime.
Yeah, we have a lot of talk about the isolation of the virus, IFR is, etc., etc. I think these are important to make the people aware that something is wrong, but I completely agree with you. The evidence of corruption, now especially that in Australia, a prime minister has stepped down, in Austria, a prime minister has stepped down, in Israel, a prime minister has stepped down, all for corruption. That's not a coincidence. These people were puppets and they were sacrificed for the bigger cause. In my opinion, it's very clear what's going on, yet prosecutors and courts do not take action.
One.
Yes. So let's go to the next subject, and that is the World Freedom Alliance. You are one of the founding members, I believe. It's a worldwide network. Please elaborate.
Well, yes. So as I told you, so in September 2019, before the corona outbreak, I laid down the evidence that it's about the anthrax, and I warned about 2020, like COVID-19 panic will happen. Then I created the Ärzte für Aufklärung. Second, then the Extra-Parliamentary Inquiry Committee on COVID-19, Corona-Ausschuss, and we made hearings. So, and very soon we started to make international hearings with experts from other countries. And therefore, so a lot of professionals came together, and we saw that we need an international action against this crime and create a better world. So in October, we came together in Berlin at a conference. So it's recorded on the DVD inside the book. And plus, we started end of October, 1st of November officially, the World Freedom Alliance. This is the organization for all resistance and peace movements in the world. So it's very international. And I have the honor to be the vice president of the World Freedom Alliance. And a microbiologist, biologist, Professor Dolores Cahill from Ireland, she's the president. And even other very good skilled and good people are at the board, and we have thousands of members now. So this is a force for peace and against the crime.
Clear. I think our viewers are quite familiar with World Freedom Alliance already. This is indeed a very wide organization. If people don't know it yet, please subscribe and register. Then I think this...
Yes, and please here, just to see. So inside the book, especially on the second DVD, you can see the actions of the World Freedom Alliance. Yeah, our meetings in Berlin, in Stockholm, in Copenhagen. Yeah, you see what kind of people we are, what kind of actions we take, and what kind of evidence we have. So you have it in the book, in text, you have it in infographics, and you have it in DVDs, and you can't delete it like YouTube videos.
Yes, and that's why we need to still have publishing and offline information. It is really important, like with the Protestant uprising, so to say, with the book press in the 15th century. It feels a bit like that same time again, that we have to fight to get the truth out. Now, this was literally a fight to get the truth out, because you were speaking at a rally in London, "We do not consent," yet you were arrested, which makes it quite ironic, because that proves the point completely.
Yes, you're right. And I was blocked to speak out the truth before. And again, it's really serious, and it's really different from all the others. Now, there is all the evidence. And I tried to warn the people before. And in London, I was an invited speakers in a rally at Trafalgar Square there were 10,000 of people. Piers Corbyn was speaking, and then I got the microphone, yeah. And guess what happened then? The police came and took the power plug out, yeah, before the German doctor announced in English that the perpetrators are connected to emergent biosolutions. So I was blocked. And then, so the whole crowd went to Hyde Park, to Speaker's Corner in London. This was the 26th of September, 2020. And there I stood in the park on a bench and made the 900 years tradition of free speech. Yeah. And then, very sadly, the tradition of free speech in Britain ended on this day, because a police squad of around 50 specially helmed people ran and sprint on me, arrested me, handcuffed me for speaking, yeah, and imprisoned me in an isolation prison. This happened on the 26th of 2020 in London. And inside the book here, there are some evidence about this event as well on the DVDs.
Clear. I think you pointed out already what the connection is between the anthrax and corona. Have you also looked at the other ones? SARS-1, the swine flu, MERS, and do you see the same signature in those pandemics or those outbreaks?
Yes, there are the same signatures, the same patterns, like in swine flu. And we have a good German-French documentary out of this, Profiteure der Angst. Yeah, it's by Arte, German-French public TV. And you can see this. And most importantly, so what I did, I connected the people, because there are astonishingly very few perpetrators. Yeah. And even with the swine flu, like Donald Rumsfeld, yeah, with Tamiflu, he was one of the main perpetrators. So, And to get this order, I created then in there a card game, classical card game, where you can play poker, skat, and things like this to show all the people. Yeah, like Giuliani, Hauer, and so on. German Friedrich Merz is involved. Yeah, some people are known, some people unknown. Yeah, that you know who are these people. Yeah, and do you know this? This is one of the very, very important people. Yeah, so then you know, okay, these are the people who are planning this. Like Woolsey, he was the planner of Dark Winter. Yeah. And so on. So yes, there are the same patterns, and I think more importantly, the same people. And
this is also what we see in Holland.
You've got a face and a name, and it's better to understand.
Yeah, this is what we see in Holland. Ab Osterhaus, also known in Germany for the work he did at the Hanover University. This was one of the first things we discussed with the groups in Germany with Professor Homburg at that time. And Rumsfeld, of course, yeah. How is it possible that these people are so out in the open, already working on these pandemics and these scams for more than 20 years, because there was also some preparation, of course. And yet the wider public is oblivious to these people or to these facts.
Yes, it's very astonishing. Yeah. And I think we cannot go into the very details what the motives are. Yeah, here. So I put the details inside the book and even the structures. So the book is more organized, like at the first pages, there are the most important topics for the people. Oh, who is producing the corona vaccine I should get and my kids should get? Yeah, it's a mafia company. And then we can go into the details. And it's, well, it's quite more complicated like this, but the book shows the pattern, how it works. But we need to understand it is organized crime. And what are the motives of the people? So it's a second or third question, I would say.
I completely agree. We first have to establish the facts. The facts are that this is a scam, that a lot of people get very rich from it. The motives are, in that sense, less relevant. The facts are more relevant. Then another thing, because you are very busy in organizing Weerkracht, also a project that you actually already started a few years ago. Please tell us about it.
Well, yes. So I said, so the interview when I said, oh, solved the anthrax attacks and warned for COVID-19 in 2020. So was recorded December 2018. And so long before I was aware of the problems. And I asked myself, because I'm a father and I'm a retired officer from the army as well, yeah. So from the responsibility, what are solutions? Addressing problems is the one side, but the other side is what are solutions? And I came across with a brilliant solution of a genius man, the inventor of the diesel engine, Rudolf Diesel. Yeah, and he made a book more than 100 years ago, but he was killed and the book vanished. But I got the book, and his good system to make us independent from organized crime and to establish, without any political things, establish an own economy system. And he had the solution how we can finance this, because it's always a question how you can finance good, big structures. And it's inside Weerkracht. And I asked myself, okay, should I write a book about this? And then I've got kids to see, oh, people are learning, humans are learning by playing. So I put the system, how we can overcome this organized crime and make us independent yeah, from this, I put into a card game with cubes and cards, yeah, dices, and you can play it with 2 up to 8 people, and it's available in English and it's available in German, and you can get it as a gift, so no money, yeah. You can just send an email to wirkraft.org and you can get the international version or the German version, yeah, and you can play this. So of course, we are dependent on donations. It would be nice if the people would share this, but you can get into the solution today. And this is most important, because if we want to overcome the situation, on the one hand, we need to expose organized crime. On the other hand, to be successful, we need to say, okay, have we got a solution, a better system? And the very big good thing is, yes, we have. It's wirkraft.org. And wirkraft.org is the official economic program of the World Freedom Alliance.org as well.
Great. So once more, because this book, you have a Dutch publisher. I think most people are familiar with the Blauwe Tijger or the Blue Tiger. It's available, I think, in English and in German. We might have to work on the Dutch version, and people in Holland can order it online above or below in Germany and Holland. Is it in the planning to make a Dutch version or other languages?
Yes, it is. So the translation is in progress. So the German version is out now. You can get it now, yeah, from wirkraft.org or from Tom Switzers. He made a very good work, yeah. And so the English translation will take some weeks more, and even the Dutch translation is in progress, even other things. Because again, and I kid you not, I'm a father, I'm a medical doctor, I'm a retired army officer. This is ending, yeah, these organized crime with COVID-19. And there are the proofs inside, the real scientific proof that you can go to court. So this is different. And it's not only in text with nearly 500 pages. There are a lot of infographics like this, yeah? So you can see. So this is Emergent Biosolutions, the company that produced anthrax vaccine as a monopole, and COVID-19 vaccine, yeah, for AstraZeneca and so on. It's all one facility. It's them to understand easily what is going on. So this is really different. And please get this book, get this evidence, go to your neighbors, go to the police and say, hey, I've got the evidence. Investigate, yeah? Because this is really, really different, and we need to spread out the information now on hard copies so that it is not subject to be deleted.
Exactly, because that's what's happening a lot. Important information is just censored, but once we have a hard copy, it's very difficult to push it out. Now, some people think it's over because we have the vaccines, what they call vaccines, so nothing to worry about. Our organization is already preparing for another dark winter. I believe that we will see at least the trial to commence these lockdowns again. Whether they succeed, I think, is up to us. But what is your take on the coming few months?
Well, this organized crime will go on. It's orchestrated all over the world. And so there are very powerful so people behind this, and they have big companies behind them. And these companies have got a great knowledge about people, how they behave. And you need to view COVID-19 not only as a real virus disease? Of course it is. We know coronaviruses for decades, yeah. As deadly as they predict, yeah. It's an illusion for this. But for them, it's like a product and they roll it out. It's a product rollout. And the Western test market is Australia and New Zealand. And they test how far they can go with these draconic measures like lockdowns, forced vaccination, and so on. And this will happen in Europe and in the United States as well. So it's very, very serious. So I call all responsible people, mothers, fathers, grandmas, grandpas. Yeah. Do you really like to be asked by your children, are you too chicken or too stupid these days? Yeah. So stand up, because it's about our families, our health, and we need to stop them. And with this book, we have gotten the evidence now, but we need to come together. And therefore, worldfreedomalliance.org is an option. You could be a member from today. Yeah. There is a lot of good local resistance, like in the Netherlands. Yeah, like you and a lot of others did a great, fantastic job. So all support should go there. And you can support all these organizations and the publisher who have really the courage to speak out the truth.
Thank you very much, Heiko. It was a pleasure. Finally, we got to do this interview. We hope to hear from you soon, and we're looking forward to the Dutch translation.
Yes. Great. Thank you very much indeed. And go on with the good work.
Absolutely.
Greetings from Hamburg.